For years, I thought there were too many more important things to do to take time to regularly make art. I was wrong. Creativity is important to mental health. If you'd like a quick and interesting small art project to exercise your creativity and practice creative self-care, this video is for you.
Welcome to Better with Art. I'm Melinda, and I'm here to encourage you to reclaim your creativity and practice creative self-care. This week with this fun little project that I'll show you how to do momentarily. The problem is I've already filmed it for you once, but all I have is a black, soundless 15 minutes of nothing. It's getting really late on Saturday night, so this is my last attempt for tonight. And, well, if this doesn't work, I will have to finish something in the morning. See, the problem not only is that I've already filmed this particular project, it's that it was the backup to a project I started earlier today. There are reasons I don't like to work with red paint, but periodically I forget or fail to consider it. And I started an experiment and was filming it so you could have fun trying what I thought would be a fun project. Well, let's just say crime scene isn't really what I have in mind for Better with Art. And for those of you who were around to create chaos with me a few weeks ago, I've also been trying to finish the follow-up for that with bringing beauty to our chaos. Although there is video footage that actually has video and sound, between not feeling well enough to deal with editing it and then, well, you know, losing my father also contributed to another couple of weeks of it being difficult to deal with. But I've continued to have technical difficulties with that. Not just personal, mental, whatever you'd call it, difficulties. I am sort of breaking a rule there. I don't know. I may not like red paint, but one thing I do like is wonky circles. So if you have trouble drawing circles, you can just have fun making wonky circles. That one is super wonky. That's okay, because this is about the process. It's not so much about how things look at the end, but giving ourselves the opportunity to create for the sake of creating, to practice creative self-care with art making, to give ourselves the opportunity to get lost in creative flow, where all of the noise just quiets. The noise from without and the noise from within. My brain is still overtired. And this is a fun little project that you can do no matter how worn out and tired your brain is. If you only have a few minutes, you can draw just a few sort of circles. If you have more, you can take more time. You can decide how many parts of this little exercise you want to do and how many you want to skip. If you have just 2 minutes today and maybe 5 minutes day after tomorrow, this little project is great for that too. The 100-day project in 2022 really changed my life. It is how I gave myself permission to reclaim my healthy art making habit. I used it so I could allow myself permission to take time to make art every day. Well, okay, so I'm having trouble having the ends of my lines for my circle shapes meet, but that's okay. It's my art journal. And our art journals are a private, safe place for us to experiment and express ourselves without fear of what others may think. The only judgment you should need to deal with is your own, and you shouldn't need to deal with that because you should be gentle with yourself. This is art for creative self-care, not art for public consumption, however you want to word it. It's not about the product, it's about the process. I gave up regularly making art for years and suffered for it. I knew how balancing and healthful making art was, but I allowed my belief that there were too many more important things that needed to be done, and taking time to make art was just self-indulgent. But creativity is so important for our mental health. You may have heard me say that I am living proof of the benefit art making can have on mental health, and I mean that literally. So after you are happy with the number of sort of circles you have, see, I'm trying not to go over the edge, but I really want these to touch. Yes, we do want our circles to bump into each other, but we want to make sure that, for example, I wouldn't want to draw another line here. Some of the styles of line making, that would work great, but because what we're ultimately doing is creating a look of depth, that would throw things off, because this one would both be on top and beneath the ones that are doing it this way beneath it. I didn't realize how gappy I was up here. That's okay. We'll just throw another little one here. And then we will use our straight edge. Can't say that one a little longer than this bookmark I did find in, my previous run through this project. Could have been a little longer, but hey, that circle sort of solves that problem on that side. You know what? I'm just going to grab a piece of cardstock. Actually, it's the cardboard from a package of cardstock, so we'll just use that. So right now what I'm doing is basically creating a sort of frame. Do not want this line to cross any of my blobby wonky circles. So where you hit one, raise your pen and go all around the edge. I really came rather close to this edge, but that's okay. Art is always imperfect, but creative self-care art is perfectly imperfect. The next thing we will need is our larger writing implement. Oops. To fill in this box that we've created. But we want to make sure we don't go over any of our circles. So we're creating basically background right now. So use the line you created as your edge and fill in between. The tip of my Sharpie could be sharper, and you could fill in the gaps with your smaller pen, but I find it easier to use something a little larger to fill in larger open areas. This particular piece of small art for this week was inspired by a reel, but I didn't see it on Instagram. I saw it on Facebook, and we'll try to track it down for you to give credit to the original poster. If you find value in this video and you feel inspired to make some of your own art, be sure to give me a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. I post a weekly creative self-care small art prompt every Sunday. That started on New Year's Day of 2023 with the 52-week art journal journey, and after the 52 weeks were up, I couldn't stop encouraging others to take time to make art, so I kept going with Better with Art, which is now in its second year. Feel free to share with anyone who could also use the encouragement to reclaim their creativity and take time to make art, to practice creative self-care with art making. I'm very disappointed that this particular art journal that I have been using in my videos and at the library where I work for the art journaling groups there, and I have been referring people to from the very beginning, is no longer available, at least not in this size. This was the most economical option I could find for this weight paper and this smooth finish. This is mixed media paper. It's 140 pound, 300 GSM. But unlike most watercolor and mixed media paper you find of this weight, it's not cold press, it's hot press. So it's smooth, which is why using markers on it doesn't trash the marker tips as using cold press does. So I am looking for other reasonably priced art journals to recommend instead. They will be linked in the description along with the markers I used tonight. And yes, I'm continuing to look for the best option to share with you that gives you the best paper for the best value. As I did mention earlier, also cardstock is not a bad choice for a lot of the things we do. One thing that was ideal about this particular art journal is that as a heavyweight paper, it stood up to wet, dry, and layered applications. And as I mentioned, with it being hot pressed, the texture didn't destroy the marker tips. One way to remember the difference is that cold press is textured. It's kind of bumpy, as if it had goosebumps. And hot press is smoother, as if it had been pressed with a hot iron. So I am using my graphite to create the shadows you may have noticed in, well, I think I vaguely pointed them out. I mentioned we're creating depth. These didn't come out ideal, and I did shadows not too long ago in a project, and I do have trouble smoothing my edges. I thought this might be easier with the graphite, but I do find that as I try to smudge and smooth my edges of my shadow, I also smear it up into the circle-ish of which it is supposed to be. Wow. I'm not sure where my grammar was going there, but we have our upper circles and our lower circles. The shadow should not be cast up. Also in the description, you will find a link to invite me into your inbox no more than once a week. Email is one of the things I have also not been able to keep up with lately. But you will also receive a link to join the Better with Art online community in our private Facebook group. Maybe if I don't try to smudge it, but the edges look kind of harsh, at least from this perspective. However this works best for you, have fun, enjoy. I still have some upcoming online workshops, and we'll be doing some in-person things also. And if you would like to be kept up to date with that, that will also be linked in the description. I have some really fun shirts too, of which I am wearing one. This particular sweatshirt, and I was near the cats. I love this one, has Better with Art on the sleeve. And some of my artwork in the phrase, have you taken an art break today? So those are available in my online shop, as mentioned, with my artwork. So I sincerely hope that when I check this video, it is all there, that things upload in a timely manner, because I really need some sleep. And creating these videos, encouraging people to take time to make art and embrace their creativity, reclaim their creativity. This is part of the reason I exist. I mean, it's a big part of my purpose. I hope that didn't sound maudlin, but it's late. I'm tired. 2025 has just been a beast so far. I don't know what's going on in your life, but I can say art helps. So grab a pen or whatever drawing or writing implement works for you. Make some lovely wonky circles, concentric. You may want to get something with a better tip to get your pointy parts pointier. Where things come together tidier. Whatever else you do or don't catch of my rambling, just remember that taking time to make art is not a waste of time. If you're not taking time to express your creativity in ways you enjoy and find meaningful, you can't be as healthy as you would be. You are amazing, friend, and you don't just deserve an art break, you need it. So take it, because we are better with art.